let's talk about gender-based violence. And this is a topic that I love. It's a passion because I work in one of the largest organizations in Kenya that deals with gender-based violence. And to say that I am an expert, I am not trying, because I have done this for the last 12 years, dealing with issues of gender-based violence. And today I want to look at intimate partner violence. This is where there is a violence between couples. And one thing that I have realized that is more common, and the thread that I'm seeing, is a psychological abuse. Unfortunately, psychological abuse, you cannot attach it to a bruise or anything physically that you can see. However, it touches on our mind. And one of the saddest thing is because it kills our mind. Whether you are a woman or whether you are a man, it kills or it eats your mind slowly, because it deals with abuse that, that is verbal actions. This is where, I deny you some of these rights. I deny you freedom. I treat you in a very inhumane way. This is where we have even sirens by Neil. It's called Neil by mouth. And if there's that anything that is eating people, is psychological abuse. Because where do you start telling people you're psychologically abused? Because people think of only physical abuse, and people will ask you, where were you hurt? So today I want to create awareness that where those people were hurt was in their mind. And when your mind is hurt, it stops your life, because mind is everything. And I've seen this with men and women, and more so to men, because men don't know how to express their feelings. They don't know that, like sharing, there's a lot of shame and guilt that is put into them. And this is where they are told they are not man enough if you go sharing about such topics. And even some women who are in corporate, they don't want to talk about psychological abuse, because again, it has a lot of shame. And so you see what happens? It now continues to diminish you, to finish you. You're not able to think. You start thinking rationally. You start, projecting. If you're working with people, you realize you start withdrawing. If you're not withdrawing, you're fighting back. And people don't know how to handle you, because you again develop another personality. That personality we call the eggshell. We can't even be able to talk to you. You know why? Because your mind is hurt. And when your mind is hurt, even thinking rationally becomes very difficult. This is where you start, even if you're working in organizations, you start, your performance goes down, your productivity goes down, it changes who you are. Even your parenting becomes very difficult, and because you don't know what to attach it to, it eats you slowly. So many people have opted to suicide. So that is blamed on suicide. It is not blamed on a psychological abuse. Some suicides I've seen are very funny. Some will even close the road carriers. They will be knocked by a vehicle. So many things, drama happen. And because it is not attached to psychological abuse, people are not able to understand. So today I want to create awareness and tell you that majority of the illness that you are seeing, it has originated to psychological abuse. There is a lot of psychological abuse among intimate partners. And this is what I'm telling couples. If it's not working, and I'm not campaigning for divorce, I really campaign for marriage. If it's not working, instead of killing each other slowly, why don't you step aside, deal with yourself, and then if it was meant for you, you'll come back together and deal with it. You know what? It is even harming your children. So it's not only hurting you, it is hurting your children, and your children are hurting others. They are also affected, and it goes like that, and it's a cycle. And so you live an unhappy life. You live a life that is full of regrets and bitterness and sickness, just because you're not able to talk about it, or you fear what people will say out there. Let me tell you, people, we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about you today when you are there. When you're out there, we'll still talk. But when you are dead, we will not even talk about your children. We will even question you. Why couldn't you leave that marriage? So don't fear about what people will say. If you're not able to resolve, and if you're not able to go and see a therapist or a mediator or anyone and resolve, I encourage you, step aside, take a back step, think about it, deal with yourself. If it was meant for you, come back together. Who knows what God have kept for you? But don't die in an abusive relationship. I repeat, don't die in an abusive relationship. Gender-based violence can kill you, kill generation and generation. So take care.